What happens when a successful CEO goes undercover and experiences discrimination in his own store? It was just after 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning when Taryn Hall adjusted the brim of his baseball cap in the rearview mirror. The reflection staring back at him was almost unrecognizable, not the powerful CEO who had built a multi-million-dollar retail empire, but simply another face in the crowd. His usual tailored suits had been replaced with a plain hoodie and jeans, a far cry from his everyday corporate look. But today wasn't about boardrooms or financial figures. Today was about stepping into his own business unnoticed, seeing it through the eyes of a stranger. Taryn had always believed in the power of connection. His company was built on the promise that every customer mattered, no matter their background. But recently, whispers of complaints had begun making their way up the chain, rumors of poor service, bias, and employees who lacked care for their customers. If any of it was true, he needed to see it for himself. Not as the boss, but as an everyday shopper. The retail store in question was located just outside of Dallas, Texas, in a bustling suburban shopping plaza. It wasn't the flagship location, nor was it the best-performing store, but it carried deep personal significance. This was the first store he had opened outside his home state, a risk that had turned into a major success. He had spent plenty of time here in its early days, but now, years later, he had to wonder, had the warmth and inclusivity he envisioned remained intact? Taking a deep breath, Taryn parked his car, feeling a mix of anticipation and unease settle over him. Shedding the safety net of his title, he was about to confront an uncomfortable truth, one he owed to himself and every customer who walked through those doors. What he didn't know, however, was that his commitment to uncovering the truth would lead to a moment he'd never forget, one that would challenge everything he thought he knew about his own company. As he stepped out into the crowded parking lot, the sun was already high, its glare bouncing off nearby windshields. Adjusting the strap of his worn canvas bag, the kind any ordinary shopper might carry, he reminded himself of his mission. Today, he wasn't CEO Taryn Hall. Today, he was just another customer. The storefront gleamed in the sunlight, the company's logo bold and familiar. A wave of pride swelled in his chest as he approached the automatic doors. This was his vision brought to life. But that pride quickly shifted to focus as he stepped inside, welcomed by the cool blast of air conditioning. The store bustled with activity. Shoppers pushed carts filled with merchandise, children's voices rang out in excitement near the toy section, and employees moved with purpose, stocking shelves and assisting customers. To an untrained eye, everything seemed to be running smoothly. But Taryn wasn't here for surface-level impressions. He was here to look deeper. Pausing near a display of colorful kitchen appliances, he took in his surroundings. A young woman in a striped uniform chatted animatedly with a customer about product features. Nearby, a stock associate arranged items on a shelf with practiced efficiency, though his expression was detached. And further down the store, a young man leaned lazily against the electronics counter, scrolling through his phone. Deciding to start there, Taryn wandered through the aisles at a leisurely pace, blending in as a casual shopper. Picking up a pair of headphones, he turned them over in his hands, pretending to consider a purchase. A simple test, but one that would reveal a lot. Would this employee acknowledge him? Offer assistance? Even just a smile? Nothing. The young man barely glanced up from his phone, showing zero interest in the customers around him. Taryn lingered, giving him every opportunity to engage. Still nothing. A knot of discomfort tightened in his stomach, but he wasn't ready to jump to conclusions just yet. Maybe the employee was busy. Maybe he hadn't noticed him. Moving through the aisles, Taryn observed other interactions. Near the home goods section, an older woman stood looking around, clearly searching for assistance. Before he could step in to see how things played out, another employee approached her, cheerful and eager to help. A visible wave of relief washed over the woman's face as they started chatting. A stark contrast to what he had just experienced. Determined to give the young man at the electronics counter another chance, Taryn made his way back, this time carrying a box set of Bluetooth speakers. Placing the box on the counter with just enough force to be noticed, he waited. Finally, the employee looked up. His expression was blank, uninterested. "Can I help you?" he asked, his tone making it clear that he wasn't particularly interested in doing so. Taryn offered a friendly smile, hoping to ease the awkwardness. "Yeah, I was wondering if these are good for outdoor use?" The employee barely glanced at the box before shrugging. "I don't know. Probably." His focus drifted back toward his phone. Taryn blinked, momentarily caught off guard. "Could you check? I just want to be sure before I buy them." With an exaggerated sigh, the employee grabbed the box, flipping it over lazily. "Says here they're weatherproof," he mumbled, handing it back without another word. A wave of frustration threatened to rise, but Taryn kept his tone even. "Okay, and do you know if they're compatible with most devices?" The employee rolled his eyes. "Look, man, all the details are right there on the box. You can read it yourself." He motioned vaguely toward the shelf. "Or pick something else. Doesn't matter to me." The silence that followed felt heavy. This wasn't just inattentiveness. It was dismissiveness. And it wasn't just about him. If this was how the employee treated someone he assumed was an ordinary shopper, how many others had walked out of this store feeling the same sting of indifference? Before Taryn could say another word, the young man turned away, phone back in hand, already disengaged. For a moment, he considered walking out. But no, he wasn't done yet. What Taryn didn't realize was that this wouldn't be the worst of it. As he wandered deeper into the store, something else stopped him in his tracks, something that made it painfully clear that this wasn't just a one-off oversight. Two employees, casually leaning against a shelf, spoke in hushed tones. One of them nodded toward Taryn. "That guy over there? Probably just browsing. People like him never buy anything big." A quiet chuckle followed. "Yeah, he doesn't look like he's got the cash for this stuff. Probably just wasting time." Taryn's jaw tightened. They had no idea who he was. To them, he was just another black man walking around their store, someone they had decided, with nothing more than a glance, wasn't worth their effort. And that's when he knew this wasn't just about one bad employee. This was a culture problem, one that had been allowed to grow unchecked. But not anymore. As he turned toward the front of the store, determination set in. This needed to be addressed. Immediately. And Taryn Hall was about to make sure of it.